Welcome back to another video with K-Time. It's been a fair while, but we are back again with Darkknightmon with the new support from Special Booster 2. During the video, I'll probably just be referring it as bt19 because that's what's listed on the cards. But for us in English, tomato tomato. It's a deck I've already done a couple of videos for, I think. And still loving the deck. So without further ado, let's go into the video. Eggs are pretty simple. 4 copies of Pokemon. Just the on deletion, reveal the top card. If it's a black Digimon, add it to your hand. I still find this to be the best generic egg. The 5th egg I run is the new promo Monimon, which has on deletion, if you have a black Tamer, draw 1. This is better because the opponent doesn't see what it is and it always draws you a card, whilst this whiffs if it's not a Digimon. However, I like Pokemon more because it doesn't rely on having a Tamer. This relies on having Tamer. And I feel like, yeah, you can do a 2-3 split. Or I guess you can do it however you want. But I actually like my first egg to be Pokemon because I might not have a Tamer out when I just swing with the rookie. So those are the eggs for Pokemon and the Monimon. We're going to strike them right in the corner. Starting off with our rookies, we're still playing 4 copies of the Monitamon. I know it's probably called Monitamon, but I like to call it Monitamon. On play, it can grab up to 2 cards, so it's a really good searcher because it basically grabs anything in our deck. Not only that, it can even grab outside of the archetype because it just grabs something with Knightmon or DeadlyAxemon in its name or Twilight trait. So yeah, it's a really good searcher because pretty much never misses and you grab 2 cards. Yeah, just phenomenal rookie. I don't see why you wouldn't run it at 4 because it really helps. It's also Twilight trait itself. So with the Nene, it will be a blocker. Next up, we're running 3 copies of the new Monitamon. This is the on-play one. This one is good because it's the better one to Digivolve in Raising and then just swing at the opponent's security with it. Because it has the on-deletion to look at the top 3. Basically, grab 1 card from the archetype to your hand, and you can place the second card under one of your Tamers. So obviously do note that if you don't have a Tamer, you obviously can't do that part. But it's potentially kind of getting 2 cards with it, depending what you hit and if you have a Tamer out. So it's a really solid addition. The inheritable effect of Reboot probably won't come up very often. There's still pretty much only the one Skull Knight that we would ever Digivolve into. But you know, it's better than nothing. We don't really need an inheritable for it anyways. So that's the next rookie, is the new bt19 Monitamon. Rounding out the rookies, some people might hate it, some people might love it. I'm still running 5 Ukos. After the ban list, this Uko is limited to 1, but this is the Uko we like more anyways. It costs 1 to Digivolve into, but I really like the consistency it gives in searching for Digimon or Tamers, and because it lets us hatch another egg, we can put another Ukomon or another Monitamon in the breeding area as well. So really it helps with our consistency and it helps with the overall speed. Because a lot of our early aggression just comes from rookie rushing. Then we slowly champion rush and then we kind of more control and get a couple of hits in. So yeah, I'm really loving the Ukos. This one is actually not as good, I find, in this deck now. But I really like the extra memory it gives because it can help put us to full memory. So yes, I'm running the 5 Ukos, which makes a nice 12 rookies. I find 12 to be good, especially with Ukos. I don't want less than 12. You can change it if you like. I know some people don't run the Ukos and run all black rookies to increase consistency with the Pokemon. But I think Uko is too good to not use. Going on to level 4, we're starting off with 3 copies of the promo Skull Knightmon. Definitely the most expensive card in the deck. Shout out to the person at Locals who helped me get the 3 I needed. You definitely don't need 4 of this card. This card serves 2 main uses. It helps us get a Tamer out with its on deletion, and also it saves. This is one of 2 Skull Knight that saves, and the other one's kind of cheeks, so we don't really use it. So yeah, it's really good for getting Tamers out, getting the extra value by saving under the Tamers, and also giving our level 5s security tech +1. Do note that it only gives the boost to Twilight trait, so all of our level 6s won't get the boost from it, which is very unfortunate. We actually need a new Twilight level 6 for the deck, but until then there's only boost level 5s, but still a phenomenal card. If we get it out early, we can just swing opponent's security till it dies, hopefully get a Tamer out. If you can't afford this, there are other options, but I really would suggest trying to get at least 2 of it. It will help the grind game a lot. Next up for Skull Knights, I'm running 2 copies of the old BT7 Skull Knight. It doesn't have Twilight trait, none of the old cards have Twilight trait, but it's still solid. We mainly just run it because it gives security attack +1 for anything with Knightmon in its name. So not only is this all level 5s, it is actually all of our level 6s in this deck as well get security attack +1, which is really nice. It's also the only one, I believe, in the deck that costs 2 to Digivolve, so it'd be pretty much our only Digivolve target, really. And then it has, when attacking, we can put a DeadlyAxemon on the field under it to go into Dark Knight for free. This actually is a little better now with the new Darkknightmon, because the new Darkknightmon actually has on play or when Digivolving effect. So this can actually work with that. It still doesn't come up often, it's more just like a bonus. We mainly run it for the security attack +1. Forgot to mention at the start of the video, but this was the list that I played at locals earlier this week, and actually went 3-0 with it, which is very cool. But I'll talk about the matchups and stuff at the end of the video, just so you can kind of get through the cards. My last Gold Knightmon was 1 copy of the EX4. I like it because it has Twilight in its trait. It's good. On play, if we don't have Nene, we can play Nene, and all of our Tamers are Nene or count as Nene. And then it also has the on deletion that we could potentially grab the top card of our deck if it's Twilight trait. Reboot doesn't come up a huge amount, but still nice. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. So overall, it kind of feels like it does a lot. If I'm actual playtesting at locals, I feel like this card should either be increased to 2 to increase the consistency of seeing it early, or dropped entirely. I just felt like I would just see this card halfway through the game, and unlike the newer cards that can play a Tamer when you have 1 or fewer, this only plays when you specifically don't have any Tamers. So I feel like it's maybe a little bit outdated now. So unless you see it early, it's kind of bad. So I'd rather run more copies to see it early, or just drop it entirely. Which is kind of a shame, because it's one of the few Twilight traits called Knightmons, and the on deletion is always nice to potentially get an extra card. But I'll probably be bumping it up to 2 or dropping it. You could just drop it for another copy of the security tech Skull Knight, which is probably what I'll be doing. Next up, I'm going to go into the cards that count for both Skull Knight and DeadlyAxe. Still one of my favorites is the Skull Knight Mighty Axe mode. I like it because it's a searcher for the deck. Again, grabbing anything with Knightmon or DeadlyAxemon in name, or Nene Amano. You can also Digicross into it, which means you can potentially play it for 3 or 2 play cost. And then not only that, it counts for both Skull Knight and DeadlyAxe. So I feel like this card kind of is the really good consistency middle ground that kind of ties everything else together. It doesn't provide any of the insane, there's no inheritable, and doesn't do anything like as crazy as the other cards, but it really helps with the overall consistency of the deck, because it can get you pieces, it counts as both, it's Twilight trait, what more do you really want to fill in the gap. So 4 copies of the Mighty Axe mode. And then I've cut it down to just 1 copy of the Cavalier mode. Some people have cut this entirely. I still kind of like it. I like it that it still counts as both. And then we can also digivolve onto any of our level 4s to give it jamming and blocker, although we probably already have blocker, but the jamming's really nice because it means we get to do free check and either for 1 for an extra draw as well. This obviously goes really well with the old Darkknightmon because we could just digivolve it jamming and security attack +1. It won't work with the promo one, it only works with that one to get the security attack inheritable. But yeah, you can cut this, add whatever you want. I just like it as a nice middle ground because it's kind of flexible and it counts as both. So 1 copy of Cavalier mode. Going on to the Deadly Axe, again this is the first locals since the 2.0 celebration set whatever came out. So very much playtesting with the ratios. Sorry, just moving those cards. So my Deadly Axe ratios will be very weird. I've run 2 copies of the old DeadlyAxemon from BT7. Again, doesn't have Twilight in the trait, which sometimes kind of sucks. But it's the new best searcher, because look at the top 5, grab any 2 cards with Knightmon in the name. This means you can also grab all of our level 6s, as well as some of our level 4s, all our level 5s. Pretty much grabs everything except for DeadlyAxemon and like level 3s and stuff. And because it also grabs 2 cards, it's really good for getting what we need. And its inheritable is nice because during our turn, if it has Knightmon in the name, plus 2000. Again, this isn't Twilight trait specific, so it will work with all the level 6s. I don't know the best ratio to run. I was still running 1 copy of the EX4 DeadlyAxemon, which used to be my favorite searcher in the deck. Because this one is the trash, a Twilight trait to draw 2. However, note that it can't trash this DeadlyAxemon, can't trash the old Skull Knight, can't trash Cavalier mode. But there's still a lot of targets for it to trash. And because trash is a card, we can also trash like Tamers or whatever. And it has the same on deletion as this Skull Knight to grab the top card if it's Twilight trait. You can kind of, personal preference, you can run 3 of this DeadlyAxemon, which I think is the more normal thing to do now. But yeah, I was just testing both to see how it went. The last DeadlyAxemon I was running was 1 copy of the new bt19 DeadlyAxemon. It looks really simple in the bad way, that it just has retaliation and on deletion save. So this is the only DeadlyAxemon in the game that just has save. Because we have Skull Knightmon that can save. And this is a DeadlyAxemon that can save. I like it because if we split it out, it gets deleted, goes under Tamer, makes it easier for us to use for Digicross later. It actually was way better than I thought, because having retaliation blocker just kind of works sometimes. It definitely came up in the Lord Knightmon matchup, like Lord Knightmon X, because even if they de-digivolve, make it so it can't digivolve, make us have collision, then it's like, oh, okay, then this can't be de-digivolved anyways if there's nothing under it, just block with retaliation. It means there's a threat they have to get rid of with another card effect. And then when we get rid of it, it saves anyways. So I feel like definitely one of, for certain matchups where you want retaliation, is actually really good. So yeah, this card actually better than expected as a one of. And again, these you can just do 3 search of Deadly Axe. I'm on at least 4 DeadlyAxemon in total. And then these can count as either, and then these are the Skull Knights. So try and keep an even-ish ratio. Going into the level 5s, starting off with the old favourite, the BT10 Darkknightmon. This is the event pack art, if it looks different to the art you are used to, but it is the BT10 Darkknightmon. Still a goated card. Got the Digivolve, can delete Digimon with 5 play cost or less. If you put 2 things under it, and can, when it leaves, it can add something to hand and spit something out. When I say when it leaves, it's specifically when it would be deleted. Yeah, just really good card overall. Nothing much else to say. If you know anything about what the deck does, you know that this is the MVP. Or it was the MVP. Whoa. But yeah, 3 copies of Darkknightmon. The new MVP is the new bt19 or 2.0. The new Darkknightmon. This one is somehow just even better. It also does the Digivolve, but now its second effect, if you Digicross with 2 things, is it deletes a Digimon or Tamer with 3 play costs or less. So obviously it's worse than this for deleting Digimon, because this can delete 5, this only deletes 3. But we're not really deleting many Digimon with this, we're just deleting Tamers. This single-handedly won several matchups against certain hybrid decks. Just because if they rely on a lot of 3 cost or lower Tamers, you could just make so many of these and start getting rid of all of them. This card's fantastic. Not only that, this one also has an inheritable. For an on deletion, play out a level 4 lower Digimon with Nightmon in its text from your trash without paying the cost. Because there's Nightmon in its text, that basically counts all the level 4s, and it also counts our level 3s. So in a certain situation, if you don't have level 4s in trash, you can play one of your Monitamons with its effect too. Yeah, just really solid card. Unless they're not running any 3 cost or lower Tamers. But you still got that inheritable, still do Digivolve. Really nice card. Again, shout out to the people at Locals for helping me get the release event ones. I actually got all 4 of these from people at Locals, and like one I pulled myself. So yeah, really cool card. Yeah, don't underestimate it. Going to the level 6, we have 2 copies of Darkknightmon X. Need to get another alt art, but it is what it is. This is still a really good card. Still a nice finisher, because when Digivolving, we add back a black Digimon from trash to hand, except itself. We unsuspend it, and we delete any Tamer. Obviously, we can use this for Tamer removal, to get rid of like a 4 or 5 play cost Tamer they have. But we can also delete our own Nene to make it effectively a 2 cost Evo, unsuspend, do another check. So that's really nice. So it's extra Tamer removal or that extra swing, either to get them really low or just swing for game. And then on deletion, we play out a Darkknightmon from the trash. So we just play out one of these bad boys again. This obviously stacks well on this one because of the inherit. That if it would be deleted, we bring out a level 4, then bring out the level 5, Digicross, this deleted, bring out the level 4 again. So you get a lot of bodies that are very sticky. If their removal is just deletion based, Darkknightmon X is really hard to get through in that sense. But yeah, it's only on deletion, so hopefully they don't just bounce it. Haha. Yeah, still a good card. Why does it not have Twilight Trait though? Sad. Going on to the next level 6, it is 3 copies of Lord Nightmon Ace, the new ace for the deck. Sorry to the older ones, but this one is cooler. Note that its effect is only when Digivolving, not on play. So you can't just play this and use this effect. It's pretty much just for either Evoing or preferably, Blast Evo. And what it does is it plays a level 5 or lower Digimon with Nightmon in its text from hand or trash for free. Most often that will just be one of our Darkknightmons, but because it says Nightmon in text, it can basically be anything in the deck that's level 5 or lower. Nice. Yeah, this is really cool. Obviously, if they swing into it, we can suddenly go up in DP a lot. And don't forget, if they swing, these can just Digivolve to weaken whatever they're attacking with. Not only that, it gives all Digimon with as much DP or less collision. So even without Nene, we make all of our weaker bodies become blockers. We also make our opponent stuff blockers. But it's actually not too bad. We don't really have piercing or anything in this deck. Or not. I don't. But we can just swing through bodies, and it kind of just works with our control aspect. Because if they run out of bodies to swing with, we'll just wear them down anyways. Also, it has Knightmon in its text. So it's searchable with cards like the DeadlyAxemon, Monitamon. Like, it's searchable by so much in the deck, even though it doesn't have Twilight trait. It's still a really fantastic card. That's all for my level 6s. I know a lot of people are running 1 or 2 copies of Lord Knightmon X. Because you don't even need to Digivolve on Lord Knightmon in this deck that much. You can just Digivolve, and X is still good for more Digivolve. I was just struggling to work out the level 6 ratios, like running 2 of this, 3 of this, and then like 2 X's. I don't like running 7 personally. I would rather keep my level 6s to 6 max, especially in a deck like this, where I feel like we're more like champion ultimate rush rather than mega. But Lord Knightmon X is still a really good card, so I definitely want to fit 1 or 2 in when I get 1 or 2. I actually didn't have any. I actually didn't have any yet. I didn't grab any. So going on to the Tamers, we have 3 copies of Nene and Mano. Still like the main Tamer of the deck. It makes all our stuff a blocker. It's a searcher. On deletion, gain 2 memory. This is really good against other decks that delete Tamers, because we will actually get almost, like, we use 3 to play it and we get 2 back if it's deleted, so it's almost free real estate. Yeah, it's really good for consistency. We need it to have blocker. With the promo Skull Knight, we can also bring it back from the trash as well. So let's say we have 2, we delete 1, we have the ability to potentially get 1 back. And having 2 is never a bad thing, because it means we can easily delete our own Nene and still have 1 up. I feel like 3 is a really good ratio. You don't need 4, because you only need 1 out, really. Having more is just a bonus. And I don't like 2, because that's too few and you're not going to see it often enough. Plus it's a searcher anyways. So 3 is really good. Next up, exactly same as my last deck profile, we are still running 3 copies of Kiraha and Nene. It gives us the extra memory if there's 2 or more Digimon at the start of our main phase, which is pretty easy to do because it counts both sides of the field. It also lets us Digicross by using 1 thing under our Tamers and 1 thing from trash. And we technically have this saves, and this Darkknightmon will material save. So technically, and also this Monitamon on deletion puts something under our Tamers as well. So we have more cards now than ever that can actually kind of help put stuff under our Tamers. So this is even better than it was before. And we really like getting the extra memory. We have so many 4 memory plays that we really want as much memory as possible, because sometimes 3 doesn't cut it with this deck. Last Tamer is 1 single copy of the Memory Tamer Nene. Its second effect, for all intents and purposes, is exactly the same, letting us Digicross from under Tamers and trash. The difference is she's the memory setter to 3, and this gives us the +1. You can run a 2-2 split if you want 2 +1s, 2 memory setter. But I ran a 3-1 ratio because I like seeing multiples of this, but I don't want to see multiples of her. But yeah, it's your choice. There's really not, it really won't change the deck that much if you want to run a 2-2 split. I think 7 is definitely the way to go. We were running 6, but again, we have more of the new cards that actually like to material save. So we won at least 7 Tamers to get 1 out ASAP. The deck feels a lot better when we actually have a Tamer out. This one won't even bring back a body if we don't have a Tamer, so we really want a Tamer out, so you really want at least 7. That's from my experience anyways. Rounding out, we have 4 spots left, and these are all like flex spots, so you can change it. First one is 1 copy of Immortal Ruler. This is basically like 8th copy of Darkknightmon, with the kind of benefit that, especially after you've already made the first one, and you probably have pieces in the trash, you can kind of make it for free. You don't have to use any of your Tamers to get Digicross materials, which means if you make one, and then you like Lord Knight Ace, make another one, you can then use the Tamers to suspend during the opponent's turn for that second one, so it kind of saves you resources. I would run 1 max now. I used to run 2 back when the bt10 one was the clear best, because we really just wanted as much as this. And you could only run 4. So you kind of use this as the 5th and 6th copies of the bt10 Darkknightmon. But now we have 7 good Darkknightmon. I feel like this is 1, it's totally fine. Twilight trait, so it's searchable and everything. And got Nightmon in its text. Yeah, I've seen people cut this down to 0. And it could be cut down for like Lord Nightmon X or any other tech choice. But it still sometimes comes up. So up to you. You don't need more than 1. I still like running it. 1 removal option, running 1 Trident arm. You know, what's better than Digivolve? Some more Digivolve. Also, it makes them have to attack, which means after we use the Trident arm and they swing, we can go into that Lord Nightmon Ace and just continue to further Digivolve or weaken the board or whatever. I like having at least 1, just because there's some decks that kind of are immune to Digimon, so it's nice to have an option. If we verse Tyrant, we kind of just lose the Tyrant anyways, unless we see this early. But I like having the 1 option removal. That's just me. I always like having at least 1 option for removal. Next up, we have 1 copy of DeadlyAxemon. I've always run DeadlyAxemon in my Dark Knight deck. We're a very control-oriented deck, and this just helps with the grind game. It also helps against wide boards. If we just want to Digivolve a single stack, we can use DeadlyAx to hit all the things, and more Digivolve is always nice. Obviously, because we are playing a black deck, we can just Digivolve into this, although I almost never Digivolve my Darkknightmon X into this, but you could go Lord Knight X into this. And because it is a black Digimon, if this does end up in the trash, we can add it back with Darkknightmon X. But I still feel like it's a pretty cool card. It depends on your locals meta, how good DeadlyAx is. You know, there's times I've seen this in my hand and I'm like, this card is useless. I'm already deleting the Tamers and controlling the board. They don't even have enough stuff for me to play this realistically. So it's up to you if you like it or not. Obviously, again, well, actually this has been the most expensive card in the deck. So if you want to cut it, feel free to cut it for anything else. And then finally, I still like my hybrid for game. It has an effect to give something blocker, but we don't actually care about that, except for super rare situations. We pretty much just like this to swing for game. We have trouble swinging for game sometimes because we're mainly an on-play deck that doesn't have rush. So aside from like Ukamons and Darkknightmon X unsuspend, we don't actually have that many surprise checks. So I still like Mercurymon. And also it's a black Digimon, so if it ends up in the trash, or goes from security to trash or milled, Darkknightmon X can add it back, so then we can hybrid for game later. That's it for the main deck profile. Feel free to take a picture of this. And then, yeah, that's the main video. I was talking about some options and thoughts from locals now. For removal, you can run Ultimate Flare as another form of removal. It will hit more Digimon, and against some decks, like maybe like D-Brigade or something, it's obviously better. But I like Trident Arm because it's cheaper and forces them to attack, so it makes it easier to Lord Nightmon Ace. But Ultimate Flare is another choice. Pride Memory Boost or any kind of memory boost is still really nice because extra memory helps us keep turn. We have a lot of cards that cost 4 to go into. So even if we're set at 3, we often pass turn if we don't have a +1 or some other way to get memory. So stuff like memory boost is good. I just don't like this can potentially be amazing. It hits so much theoretically, but it feels so bad when we chuck too many of our 5s and 6s into the trash early on, especially Darkknightmon and Lord Ace. Yeah, we kind of hate chucking them into the trash early. So double-edged sword sometimes. How do I put them there? For other aces, Vikemon Ace is actually... There are other black aces, especially like there's the new Shadow Seraphimon Ace. But my preferred ace to fill the gap is actually Vikemon Ace. The main reason, still got the Digivolve, but so does, a lot of other aces. The main thing I actually like about it is when attacking, we can delete something with one or fewer sources. One problem the deck has is that if we're versing a deck that doesn't Digivolve, we don't have a good way to remove it with anything, except for like maybe collision or something like that, or just having big blockers. But yeah, we don't have a good way. Like if they hard play an ace, we don't have a good way to get rid of it. If we're versing like D-Reaper, Royal Knights, etc., like one of those decks that just doesn't Digivolve, we don't have a good way to get rid of their stuff. So that's why I like Darkknightmon Ace, just because it can get rid of stuff with no sources. Or one or fewer, but mainly 0 in the scenario. Yeah, so there's other black aces that are really good to help the deck do what it does. But Darkknightmon Ace is an option to fill in a weakness. So it's still kind of cool. Then for hybrid for game, there is the new Mercurymon, which, you know, it does the same, you know, 2 cost to Digivolve, except this effect is we can make this Digimon can't be returned to the hand or deck by effects. This might be the better hybrid to swing for game with, because for example, if we swing and they use Zudamon Ace and strip our Tamer under it, they can't bounce us back to the hand, so they can't stop that swing for game. Again, it probably won't come up. We're probably using hybrid to swing for game when their board is very weak anyways. But technically this is better than this for swinging for game. Although this does give blocker, which, yeah. But I might actually swap to the new Mercurymon, just because swinging for game with this might be better. It could come up, you don't know. Lastly, we do have one more card out that does have save. It's the new Skull Knight. So this is no longer the only Skull Knight with save. This one can save too. However, this card kind of sucks, because all it does is blocker, which is irrelevant if we have Nene out. It's only good if we don't have Nene. And it's inheritable, it's just blocker. And I'm like, why? Why does this card exist? Why does it not give a different inheritable like Reboot? Why does it give blocker when the deck already does blocking? This one is Retaliation Reboot. Why can't this be Retaliation Reboot too? Or, you know, something similar. Like, I just don't understand why they made a Skull Knight which just gives blocker in a deck that already is all about blocking. It's kind of a shame, because having extra save is good, but yeah, I just would not run this card because it doesn't do anything unless you don't have Nene. Yeah, but I mean, it's a card that exists, so you know, you can use it. Yeah, so my 3 matchups. Round 1, I was up against Loosemon, with all the, like, you know, Chaos Mode and Satan Mode, all that kind of stuff. Actually, really long, really long game 1 that pretty much took up the entire time. We have a very favourable matchup, because they have protection from removal, but we can just de-Digivolve them, and it doesn't count as them leaving the battle area. We sometimes struggle to get rid of the level 3s, because our removal is play cost based, not level based, and the Loosemons have too high play costs for us to get rid of. So we struggle to get rid of level 3s, but we can easily de-Digivolve everything else. Yeah, also the whatever Loosemon form makes us choose to delete a Digimon or Tamer, we can just delete our own Nene, gain 2 memory, and they'll, if they haven't passed turn already, they'll probably pass turn with that. So I feel like it's a very favoured matchup for us against Loosemon. If we just keep up the de-Digivolve consistency, there's not much they can do. Just hope they don't Death X us or use a really annoying ace that we can't de-Digivolve. Second round was against the Shoto Mother, like Black Mother hybrid. Obviously really annoying because we don't have a good way to get rid of Mother, especially when it's a blocker. However, this is MVP against any deck that runs Shoto, because we can just delete Shoto every time with it. I will sometimes save it. I'll more likely go into this, wait for them to play the Shoto, and then just pop it instantly. It's like, oh, okay, you're blocker, but I'm just going to delete Shoto, not swing this turn, and it should be all good. Yeah, anyways, final round was against Darkknightmon, and as mentioned before, DeadlyAxemon was the MVP, because they have trouble getting rid of Retaliation without using other effects sometimes. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Feel free to comment or anything below, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.